Welcome to the Sanity Project podcast, where you can awaken your mind to clarity and success even in today's life challenges. We're here to provide insights and solutions that will help you live a sane, healthy, and prosperous life. Here's your host, Joanne Victoria.
Hello, everybody. This is Joanne Victoria with another amazing episode of the Sanity Project podcast. You are here to discover a life of clarity, confidence, sanity, and entrepreneurial success. Our guest today is Mike Darcey. Mike Darcey's mission is to help people create and live the ultimate, purpose-driven life full of adventure, love, and happiness. Mike is the creator of Love Life Central, a passionate community where people learn life-changing ways to make life great. As an entrepreneur, coach, investor, parent, and volunteer, navigating the ups and downs of tough relationships has revealed the secrets that create long-lasting, outstanding marriages, and he's excited to share these secrets with others. Mike and his wife, Lisa, are blessed to enjoy living in Hawaii in a cozy home minutes away from the famous Waikiki Beach. And if you hear birds in the background, they're real people. Welcome to the show, Mike Darcey.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Me too. For those of you who are listening, Mike and I had a good conversation off mic, but I'll tell you about it another time. Maybe I'll write about it.
Okay.
Yeah. So Mike has lots to bring to the table, and he's talking about primary relationships. And it doesn't matter where you are on the spectrum. Everything Mike has to say relates to you, the listener. So I want you to be clear about listening, and at some point in time, you're going to listen to this again and have your yellow pad out so that you can take notes, because I know he's going to give you information that you won't want to ignore. So, Mike, how did you get to this place where you advise people on relationships?
I got to this place because I was terrible at it, is really the truth. And, you know, I grew up in Hawaii and did everything I was supposed to do. I listened to everybody. I took everybody's advice, and I stayed the path. I did all the things I was supposed to. I'm second generation general contractor. I ran the construction business for the family for many years. Even through the pandemic is probably worse, but even through like the 2008 period of time when the economy dropped out.
Oh yeah.
And I did some really wonderful marketing at that time, and we survived all of that. And one of the pieces that happened was that we started doing some work for the federal government through another agency, and I thought I could handle it all. I was very arrogant at the time. So yeah, I can deal with that. And it did. Our business boomed and everything was great. And I completely ignored my wife, my first marriage, and that started to go south. And all of a sudden I was overwhelmed with too much work and too much relationship, and it all started going south. And so by 2012-ish, the world was in the toilet for me. Mm-hmm. The business closed. I lost about $2.5 million. At the same time, the marriage went out the window, and I was in a very, very dark, deep hole, and I had no way to figure out how to find out how to get myself out of it. And at that point in time, my wife, who I met in high school,
wow.
My wife now, she reached out and pulled me up a little bit and said, "Hey, I can help you if you can help me," because she was going through a pretty bad divorce herself. And so we were talking, and we became friends, and it was apparent that there's some spark here, but let's just not do anything about it, and let's just see if we can help each other build a better life. And so we started doing that. We started writing the things that within our relationship as friends, not lovers, we were just friends. What are the things that work and what are the things that don't work? And let's kind of get rid of the things that don't work and really push on the things that do work. And so we started these little Post-it notes and all this kind of stuff. And eventually we were both divorced, and we got married, and it's been a whirlwind. And we have a blended family. She has 3 kids, I had 2, and they're all young adults at this point. And we got 2 grandkids just in this past pandemic year. So that's our first 2, and it's really lovely. We really like that. But we started writing down all these little things about what's the secret, what's the secret, what's the secret. And we came up with a dozen of them. And we were looking at our kids as young adults, and they were struggling with their relationships. And because, you know what, they are just like us. I mean, their personalities, maybe some of the stuff that we know can help them. And so that turned into the first book. And the people were asking me for this first book all over the place. And there's something to this. And so we've been helping people with their relationships and just going from couple to couple and making changing their perspective more than anything else. The way you look at a particular thing, let's change your perspective of that and get it to look the right way for you.
Right.
And it would work all over the place. And so I eventually got a coach this past year because we decided, hey, let's really, my wife retires at the end of this year. Let's really make this a business that we can do, and with real life coaching and real life courses and real life, and that's what we started in the pandemic year. Is we started a little Facebook group that was 100 people. We started that I think in May or so, and now we're burgeoning at about 1,000 people. We're about to cross the line at 1,000 people with, and it's fairly organic in terms of how its growth has been. So we can see there's obvious need for people to talk about this stuff. So we're talking about it, and so that's been our journey through all this.
Well, I think it's very clear the path was there. Even though you had different work environments, the path was clear that you come to a new perspective and help others come to a different and new perspective, or maybe one that they had blocked out of themselves that they weren't paying attention to. And first of all, which was your first book, The Link to Love Life, or the Love Life, How to Create a Happy Relationship After Divorce, or Adventure Together?
The first book is Love Life.
Okay,
yeah.
So it's Love Life, How to Create a Happy Relationship After Divorce. And
then the second book is Adventure Together. And it's really specifically, we've been together long enough, and we love to travel. And we're on an island, so we need to travel a lot to do anything.
Sure.
And so we were seeing people that did not travel together well. And so we wanted to put this out there to help people to travel together well as a couple, because it's different than traveling by yourself. It's different than a family trip. If it's just you two, there's a lot of pitfalls that you can fall into, and we were seeing people do that all the time. Mm-hmm. And there's such a big void of education out there. It's not like relationships are taught. Nobody really teaches you how to be in a relationship.
Nope.
It's a vacuum. And so I've got, 3 other books that are in various forms of being created, because we want to be able to, it's so much fun for us to help people get over their struggles and see their eyes light up, and they're moving towards a better life. And that's our mission as a couple. That's our mission, to help people get there.
Well, I agree with that, and I'm aligned with that, and I'm looking at some of my clients, but not only my clients, but other people who deal with small business owners, large business owners, and anybody in the entrepreneurial state, that their time, if you're an entrepreneur, your time is devoted to entrepreneurialism. You are working any number of hours of the day, and if you're in a primary relationship, you don't pay any attention to that other person. They're lost. And I've read about it. I've experienced it. It's happening right now. You were fortunate that you and your wife, you and Lisa, got creative during the pandemic. Mm-hmm, and some people did that, but a lot of people didn't do that. And
they're struggling. Yes.
Very much so. And they didn't look at it as, I know it's going to sound crazy, people who are listening, but this was a gift for a big time out. And this time, it was a gift for people who could go, hey, what can I do? Let's adapt to the situation. Put your mask on, go to your room and create something, because it's all within you. It's not outside of you. So this is what Mike Darcey is doing right now with his wife, Lisa. It's all within them. Their own experiences are being transformed into opportunity and possibility. So how do you help someone who's in a primary relationship, is a crazy small business owner, entrepreneur in some level or another, and they're ignoring their primary partner? Because if they continue to do that, there won't be a primary partner in another year.
Absolutely.
And they're going to repeat this again.
And the relationships that aren't even as stable as theirs have already fallen apart because of the pandemic, because of, it's strange that now people have to be in such closer quarters, and then their relationship doesn't work. That seems to make no sense because you got into this thing to be a team, not to be an individual with all these assets. So the small business owner often looks at it as a real compartmentalized life.
Yes.
And when business is struggling, that becomes the biggest compartment. And the relationship takes a long time to get to a point where it's struggling. I mean, people will sit in their lousy relationship for a really long time before they say, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
So,
50 years or more.
But the business is telling you right away, you'd better do something with me right now or I'm out of here. Right? So the primary thing I tell people in that kind of situation is you have to look at your relationship as a team. And the team is handling your business, it's handling your home life, it handles everything. But you have to look at it as a team. The two of you are the same team looking out at the world in the same direction.
When I talk to my clients, I tell anybody, the business comes into your life. Your life doesn't come into your business. So you have to have a good, balanced, or harmonious, I should say, life, and bring your new business into that, not the reverse. Because if you do it the reverse, you will be struggling with your business and your primary relationship goes by the wayside. So you do have to have that team concept, as you're talking about, and bring the business within that team.
Yes,
people
definitely.
Don't get that.
Yeah. For me personally, and I purport this to everybody I try and talk to, is the relationship is first. It is the number one priority. The business is second. The kids are second. All the other stuff, the broken car is second. The
Sure.
house is second. The relationship and how you manage the relationship is first. Because then you can actually really figure out how to split up the responsibilities, and you have your partner's back all the time. So yeah, I absolutely agree with you. The business has to be a function of after the relationship.
Yeah, it's an adjunct. It's not that's not the relationship. The business
Correct.
comes second in whatever capacity it does. And people use the excuse, oh, my kids. Well, what about the people who don't have children? They're still having problems. So it's not kids. It's about you first, the you and the relationship, or you making the relationship work first. That is it. That is number one. Because the person that you are in that relationship with is a representative of you. It is your mirror.
It is absolutely your mirror. The one there's an exercise that we have people do, and it's for some people it's fun, for some people it's terrifying, and you've probably heard it, and it's to write your own eulogy.
Yes.
And what that almost always brings to the end of when you're writing it, it brings what's important up. And the things that are consistently important are the relationships you have in your life. Your business, yes, okay, so you built a business, but when you're on your deathbed, you don't care about your business. You care about your kids. You care about your mom and dad and aunts and uncles. And you care about all these connections you made. The
Mm-hmm.
rest of that stuff is garbage.
Mm-hmm.
So start treating the things that are important now. Start taking care of them now instead of waiting until you're dead or you're 100 years old and you're trying to figure out how to repiece the things back together.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, kid, we need to have a talk. Mom, you're 200 years old. It's a little late now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's something that people do not understand because they think that they're separate. They think a relationship with a partner and a relationship with a business partner or with a business, which becomes the business becomes human in its power. Mm-hmm. And people don't see that, or they choose not to see that because it's a different way of perceiving things.
Absolutely. And if you look at it as a person, you'll realize it does really respond to things. If you treat your business well, it responds well to you. If you neglect it, it responds poorly to you. I mean, it does the same thing that a husband or a wife would do.
Right. It's real. It's got a life. It's got a vibrancy. It's got may not have a soul, but it certainly has a heart and a brain.
Right.
Business. And the thing of it is that heart and brain is your heart and brain that you're impressing on your business.
Yeah, it is like a kid. It's something that you created, and
yes.
But it's a lot like you. And for like in my history, and when I was telling you how the part of one of the business deals had fallen apart because I was arrogant and I thought I knew more than I knew. The same thing would happen in a relationship. If you're arrogant and you think you know everything about what it takes to run this marriage or run this girlfriend or whatever it is, it's going to backfire. It's going to come and bite you in the butt.
Yeah, that's the ego talking.
Absolutely.
It's not the heart and the mind and the mindfulness and the awareness. It's the ego. And the ego does everything to stop change. The ego does not allow you to change. It wants to keep you under control, doing things the way you've always done them before, so that they don't have a big job to do. Because if you decide to change your path, change your approach, adapt in any manner, shape, or form, they're going to make life hell for you.
Oh, yes.
So your ego is, look what you went through.
Oh, yeah. And the fun part of it is, if you just deny your ego that non-change, if you go into it and you change your own perspective that you love change. I enjoy change. I love seeing the dynamics. I love seeing how everybody has to scramble. I love change. Your ego has no place to go.
Correct.
And then all the things that come at you, even stuff like the pandemic, it's like, wow, this is a great adventure. And that's one of our key things. When everything looks like an adventure, it's like, man, bring it on. I love it.
Yes. I tried it. This is, people will ask me, how can you do this? How can you do that? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? And I said, it was an adventure. I label them adventures because if it's an adventure, it's not a matter of, I made a mistake or, I wanted to do something. It was just, this is it. It's another adventure. That's all it is. That's all, the only label it requires. And then people can draw their own conclusions as to how it manifests to me, within me, and within the people around me. Yeah. So it's...
the vocabulary matters.
Yes.
And once you just say it's an adventure instead of it's a concern or it's an issue, or no, this is an adventure.
Well, there's no worry. If it's an adventure, it's just like your eyes are open and you're ready for anything.
Yeah.
Whatever it might be. Today's a new adventure. When I drive to Whidbey Island, which is a huge phenom in the world of the United States, the mainland, and it's this huge island, and it's filled with artists of every type, writers and this kind of artist, that kind of artist, created. It's a total creative thing. I never know what's going to happen when I drive over there because it's another adventure. The weather could be good. The weather could be terrible. I've driven over there and found a new bagel store. Where did that come from? It's like, wow, Look at this. And then somebody says, where's the best beach? And they give me the directions to this new beach. I never would have found that beach without the new bagel store and somebody in there giving me that information. So if you treat life as more of an adventure, you won't get so pissed off all the time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Those are
you welcome things that are different in.
Oh, yes. You never know. My daughter and I are constantly going, who knew? If we hadn't done that, who knew?
Yeah.
Okay, we spoke before we were recording about some things that you think are vital in a relationship and what makes a good relationship. So can you share these things with the audience?
Sure. So every relationship, but especially every close relationship, has to have 5 things in it to survive. And none of these things can be dropped. And the 5 things are the desire to be together, a high level of trust and vulnerability, mutual respect for each other, a really good communication between each other, and mostly I mean understanding each other, understanding what the other person is saying, really. And then there's love. And so you have to keep, I think I said it this way, you have to keep all 5 of these balls up in the air at the same time. And it's actually kind of easy, but if you notice one of those things is lacking, that's absolutely the one you have to attack first and figure out how to get it to make it better.
So you strengthen the weak part, not strengthen the strong part.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. I mean, for those 5.
For these 5, yes.
Yeah. Because if you've got a really strong desire to be together, you don't have to push that to make it more, but your level of trust with each other is pretty lousy. You got to get that right.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's those are the 5 things I tell everybody they have to have in that relationship. And it's the same if you have a friendship. And I tell people that every relationship, if you want to have a marriage, you have to take it through its courses. You have to go through an acquaintanceship. You have to go through a friendship and become best friends. And then you have to take it to the next level. It has to grow. It's not something that happens overnight. So, a lot of people they get divorced and they want to get back into some sort of relationship right now. And it's kind of like, wait, slow down, because you have to build another relationship. You don't want to spend a week trying to create a relationship that you want to last for decades.
Right.
It makes no sense.
So just for our audience who's listening, I know that Mike and I spoke about this off mic. What Mike Darcey works with everyone and gives our audience an insight as to the niches or genres of people that you do work with, because I don't know what the terminology is. I know the LGBTQ, et cetera, that I got, but it's like it's all encompassing. So give the audience an idea of the types of people that you work with. Okay.
There's 2 main, well, there's 3, but so I do some individual coaching just to get people to get their performance up and get them understanding where they want to go.
Sure.
So that's individual coaching. That's sort of on the side. But then the 2 main fields of people is I tend to get a lot of people that are divorced and trying to pick up the pieces of their life. So I take them through some visualization and figuring out what they want, because a lot of times they have no idea what they want, and then just get them started on a route to build friendships, and then identify people and find support and get just to get them back to zero, just to get them back living in society again. And then the other group of people are people that are married and either the relationship is struggling or the relationship is blah, and they want it to be something much more. And that's really fun too, because then we can examine their life and see what we can pull out of there. And that's when you're taking the strengths and making them stronger. You're looking at those kind of things and push into the things that they both enjoy and push into the things. That's when you start to work on the marriage mastery side of it.
Okay, listeners. So you can go to Mike's website at Mike Darcey. Hold on, I'm going to cough. I will have to edit that out. Mike Darcey, MikeDarcey.com, because Google will push you to MikeDarcy.com. So Correct. It's MikeDarcey.com for those of you who are on your phone right now and not in front of your computer and want to jump off. And you can find everything there, information about his books, information about his coaching. You can set up a session with him right there on.
Absolutely.
Hold on, I'm going to.
That was a big one.
That is my normal sneeze. I scare the world with that sneeze. They look at me and they go, where did that come from? So again, something else I have to edit. I'm allergic to everything, and since the snow has melted, all the green growies are...
Oh, no.
Yeah, spewing forth on this side of the pond at the bay. Okay, so let's just go. Okay, 119. So, Mike, Darcey, Mike, MikeDarcey.com. Do you have anything else, final 10 words that you want to give to our audience?
Final 10 words. Listen to understand. That's it. That's the best advice I can give anybody anytime. When you're ever listening to somebody, listen to understand.
Those are important words. Okay, everybody, you listen. You're going to listen to this podcast again. You're going to take notes on your trusty yellow pad. You can change it back to a Word document after that, but you have to write it by hand because there's a connection in your brain between handwriting and the neurons in your brain. And for those of you who still haven't signed up for my free book, go to my website at askjoannevictoria.com/podcast, and you can get your copy of the True Self Handbook, a guide to transform your life. Well, I want to thank Mike Darcey for being here today because this has been an exhilarating conversation about something that's vital right now, big time in the real world, people. Bad relationships and worse businesses. So if you want to make your business grow, pay attention to your primary relationship. How's that one?
That's beautiful.
Okay.
And thank you so much. This has been so fun.
I enjoyed it myself. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Sanity Project podcast. Please go to AskJoanneVictoria.com to listen to more podcasts. Check out Joanne's coaching programs and get a free copy of her report, 5 Steps to Achieve Life-Work Harmony. That's AskJoanneVictoria.com. Take care, and thanks for being here.